you've been brilliant. Hammers chat all the way, baby.
Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. It's a match preview for AFC Bournemouth against West Ham United, two teams that went out of the League Cup midweek to League One sides. One slightly more embarrassing, the other. We're here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the Premier League game on Saturday, 3 PM kickoff. Gonzo, can I get your thoughts on Bournemouth, please?
Yeah, good team, solid manager. It always has a little bit of money to spend. So I don't know, the reputation is of a small club, but they spend a little bit of money, and I think Eddie Howe tends to spend it well, apart from Dominic Solanke, who they spent 19 million on. He's been in the team of late, actually, but I still don't really rate him as a player. They got Billing, was it from Huddersfield last season? He looks a good player, good size. Aaron Ramsdale in goal, of course. They say too many cooks spoil the broth, but not for Bournemouth, because both their cooks are very, very good. I like Lerma in midfield, and Callum Wilson's come back into form as well. But what I think has been really pivotal for them, and what has really impressed me, because Fraser won't sign a new contract, very naughty boy, and Josh King has been taken from a forward. He's been playing on the left, and he's been really, really good since he played there. Lots of pace, lots of power. Yeah, and of course, Harry Wilson, who can take a free kick, but not much else I've not seen from him, to be fair.
Are you impressed by their start to the season, Gonzo? They're sitting in 6th, just below us.
Yeah, I am. I just like the way they play. I like the way what they need to do, because they do tend to start well, Gio, and they've done so again. What they need to do is, when they get to the magical 40 points, which they will do, no doubt about it, they need to then push on and have some additional ambition beyond that. And funny enough, I know we're not discussing it, but it does sort of tie in, because with the League Cup as well, because that is an additional ambition as well, because they made 11 changes, I believe, for the game last night. So it's that next level. I think they're good enough. They've got enough back in. The manager's good enough. They've got good enough players to set their sights slightly higher than just being safe. But I like them. It's a good club.
Luke's joined us from the Three Hammers tonight. Luke, what's your thoughts on the Cherries?
Yeah, for me, I don't know what you guys think. I think they're a bit of a bogey club for us, to be honest. We've not got a good record against them at all for a long time. They did the double over us last year, didn't they, I think? Callum Wilson, he's sort of turned into the new Lukaku against us, hasn't he? Loves scoring a goal against us. Yeah, I like Nathan Ake as well. He seems to have started the season quite well with defence. And obviously, like you said, Gonzo, Harry Wilson, I've been really impressed with him as well. It's not going to be easy. It's a tough game for us, I think, this one. I think Man United was more of a banker, if you were looking at the fixtures, than this game. I think this game's the more nervy for me, to be honest with you.
Luke, was that a missed opportunity for Bournemouth? Forget West Ham for a second. Midweek, they went out in the League Cup away to Burton. Is that a missed opportunity for them? Should they be one of the clubs that are looking to pursue silverware in this competition?
Yeah, I think anyone outside that top 6, if you're looking to win a trophy, the League Cup's the one you should throw everything at now. Do you not think?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
They're a team I really like. I like watching them. I watch a lot of Premier League football, and when they're on TV, I do think, oh, good, because I enjoy watching them play football. I like what Eddie Howe does. He just refuses to budge off his blueprint, and his blueprint is pretty football, if you like. He's very British, but he's quite clever when he goes away from the British stigma. I like Lerma. I think he's a decent enough signing. In Philip Billing, someone I liked at West Ham, but went off towards the end of last season because of Huddersfield fans. But watching him at Bournemouth, I realised why I liked him in the first place. He's doing really, really well there. But I do think midweek was a big missed opportunity for Bournemouth. And the likes of us and Bournemouth should be looking at that cup draw and seeing the fact that Arsenal, Chelsea, Man U and that are all drawn against each other, so they're going to be knocking themselves out, if you like. They should be looking at that thinking there's a chance here for someone, and Leicester City will be rubbing their hands thinking, well, we're in the next round. So yeah, possible missed opportunity. What's a good season for them, Luke? What is, if you're a Bournemouth fan, come May, you're looking back for you to say tick, what have they got to achieve?
I think for them would be top 10. It's like you said, actually, with in terms of Eddie Howe, he reminds me of a pretty football Alan Kirbishley. when he was at Charlton. You know, he's been there a long time. They get to that 42 points and they sort of start not believing that they can hit that top 6. I think it's that belief. They haven't got that belief that they are a European club. They can get there. When I think they have got the players to potentially challenge there, especially this season. It reminds me of the season when Leicester won the league. You know, it's wide open up there at the minute. But yeah, 10th would be a great season for them, I think.
You two have put out a couple of spoilers, but I'll ask the question anyway. Gonzo, what players do you admire the most from Bournemouth?
I like Wilson, but I like him at Bournemouth, if you know what I mean. I don't like it when we're linked with him, but I like him. I think he's good. One of their better players is not playing. Brooks, Cook, the midfield Cook, I didn't think he didn't start. I had a little check before we came on. He didn't start the last game against Southampton, which is, I mean, that's a big game, Southampton. I went to when I moved from Ilford when I was 14, and I actually moved down to Bournemouth. So I did last 2 years of my schooling down in Bournemouth. So I've got lots of friends that are Bournemouth fans, and it's a big game. You know, it's a big derby for Bournemouth, so that was a big one for them to beat Southampton. And so I see a lot of those. I have, whilst I've not seen a lot of them this season, Josh King has been impressive, though. It's the one player I have seen, and seeing him play on the left is really good. And the thing is, I mentioned Fraser earlier. Fraser's a very good player, but that's a really good stance, I think, from Eddie Howe. Some people might call it pig-headed, but he's basically saying, you're not signing a new contract, you're not playing, I'm not starting you. I think he played him last night, actually. And Billing, we mentioned earlier, I think he's a good size because they're very good at that. They're athletic, they're fast, and they're strong. In many respects, they're strong where we're weak. Bournemouth are. So, some really good players, mate.
Same question to yourself, Luke. What players do you admire the most from Bournemouth?
Yeah, I really like Callum Wilson as well. Again, not when he plays against us, but he's a good player to watch. And just like Gonzo said with Ryan Fraser, he's tricky, but if he's not in the team, it's all better for West Ham that he's not in the team. Like I say, Ake seems to be coming on as one of these top defenders now. He's got goals in his game as well, which is another danger for us. But those three probably are my main ones.
Yeah, my three favourite are from a different position. Starting at the back is Nathan Ake as well. I think this season he's really cemented his place, possibly as the best centre back outside the top 6, and that top 6 is getting fractured as well. I think when Leicester got linked to him, when Leicester sold Maguire and they were linked to Ake, and they said, well, 80 million, I think Leicester might look back one day and think maybe we should have pursued that. Maybe not for the whole 80 million, but maybe we should have went in with 50 million or something to get him out of there, because he's only getting better. His price is only going to go up, and I think it's only a matter of time till a club bigger than Bournemouth come knocking for him. The other one is Lewis Cook. I liked him before, but the reason Gonzo didn't start against Southampton, he's just back from his major injury. He had a massive layoff, which it's possibly benefited Declan Rice, because I think Lewis Cook was on the verge of the England squad when he got that big injury, and that's allowed Declan Rice to have a clear run at that position. I think he would have been going up against Lewis Cook for it, and it would have been a damn good battle as well, because I think he's got all the assets to become a top player in the Premier League. He came back against Everton and he was superb. He looked like he hadn't been out and stuff. I imagine he'll start against West Ham, and it's difficult in there against him and Billing. And then my last one is player Gonzo mentioned, David Brooks. He's one of my favourite players outside of West Ham to watch. He's direct, he's skillful, he can score goals, but they've not done too bad in replacing him with Harry Wilson, who seems to be getting subbed every game Harry Wilson plays for Bournemouth. Howe seems to be subbing him off for whatever reason. He could be playing man in match, but Howe still subs him, usually for Ryan Fraser. But anyway, before we move on to West Ham, Luke alluded to it earlier. This is Callum Wilson's favourite club to play against. He scored against West Ham 6 times, and he hasn't done that against any other Premier League team. But on to West Ham. Luke, I'll start with yourself. Left back, Masuaku's suspended. Cresswell came in, did well, but a lot of people were saying, hang on, but Masuaku's still the first choice left back and he shouldn't have been sent off. And then there's other people saying, hang on, no, Cresswell did well against Man United. Who would you like to see start?
For me, I think Cresswell's got to go in. If what Gonzo tells me is true, before we went live about him falling over the ball and letting a League 2 player go through and score, listen, Masuaku was doing well, and I think he gives confidence to Anderson, but I don't think you can take anything away from the way Cresswell played against Man United. I think that's one of the best we've seen him in a long time. He was actually putting tackles in, and that free kick I think, I don't know, that deserves it just on its own, if I'm being biased as a West Ham fan.
Gonzo, I've got your team here, but I won't put it up just yet because there's another little spoiler, which we'll come on to in a second. But your left back, please.
Yeah, Cresswell again. I think I totally when Luke said about the partnership with Masuaku and Anderson, I do think that's a good point as well. But I do agree it has to be Cresswell. You have to have a way into a team, and you have to have a clear path to not only get into the team but to stay there. So if you cannot have a situation, I think it's bad for squad morale if you allow someone into the team, they play well, they score a fantastic goal and have an all-round. I mean, you thought he was man of the match, Gio, and if you're that good and in the shout for man of the match, to be dropped then for the next game is not good, not just for that player, but it's not good for anybody else who might have their eyes on the team, because it keeps everybody that's not involved motivated.
I would start Cresswell as well, because I thought he was man of the match. I thought he was fantastic against Man United, disregarding his goal, because I think that's it's like us. He could take about 4 of them against Bournemouth and only hit the target with 2 of them, and the keeper will say both of them probably. It's a 1 in 20 shot type goal thing, so it's not about the goal. But I just thought going forward he was really good. I thought defensively he was pretty sound as well. I thought he had one of his best performances at a West Ham shirt in a long time. But I've seen a lot of hypothetical people on social media saying, but hang on a minute, what happens if Alir's misses a game, Ayati comes in and scores a double? Do you then drop him? But the difference here is Alir has cemented the striker position. Declan Rice has cemented defensive midfield. Mark Noble has cemented centre midfield. Masuaku hadn't cemented left back. He was there on merit. He deserved to play left back, but it wasn't his position definitively. And I would say the same goes for Fredericks, Yarmolenko at the minute. The other attacking midfielder position, whether it's Fornals or Lanzini, that's up for grabs at the minute. I'd say there's about 4 or 5 players in that first team that's got their position, and they'd have to go through a really bad run to come out of it. And that's why Cresswell starts for me. Luke, barring the left back, is there any other changes you would like to see from the team that based Manchester United?
Not really. I'm starting to like Yarmolenko. I have to say, I don't think Gonzo's the biggest fan, but he does take too many touches for me at the moment. But I think that's a fitness thing. But at the end of the day, he has got a goal in him, which I do like. Funnels, I still think hasn't hit the highs yet, but he will. But yeah, I wouldn't change too much if I was, to be honest. I think that team that beat Man United deserves to play against Bournemouth.
Great. Now I'm going to pop Gonzo's team up on the screen now. Gonzo, there's one other change that there's one change you would make from the whole team. You would bring in Jack Wilshere to replace Pablo Fornals.
Yes, I would. You want me to justify that?
Explain.
I think they're going to be all over us, Bournemouth, and particularly in midfield. Particularly if Cook plays, he's full of energy. He's tackling, he's passing, he's running. Billings is energetic as well. He's only going to be playing 1 forward, so there's going to be 3 of them in central midfield. And I just think if Jack plays, then as I've said before, it becomes more of a 3. It was a massive learning curve for Fornals last night, and he has actually gone. He has gone up in my estimations as a man, because he was the only player to come over. Not only it was a big gap last night. I didn't say it in the video. Yes, I say it now. It's almost as big as the London Stadium, because they're rebuilding. They're doing some rebuilding stuff at there. And he not only did he come over to apologise. A lot of the players went off embarrassed. He actually came over. He walked over sort of no man's land, or what we would call a carpeted area, and came right up to the fans, which could have been easy because there was booing and people were unhappy. And he gave his shirt. He didn't just throw it. He handed it and then said he apologised. He was the only one that did. And I thought, there you go. That can't be easy to walk up to a load of 300-400 people who were still left and do that. So I think he's got something with him. But I do think he had a shock last night as well at the physicality of it. And if he wasn't happy with the physicality against Bournemouth, against Oxford, he's not going to be happy with the physicality against Bournemouth either. So I would give him a rest, let him acclimatise, and hope for better. Wilshere was also taken off earlier, so he'll be slightly fitter.
And former club as well. Former club.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, and that's a great point, Luke. Of course, don't forget that Eddie Howe, when Wilshere was there, Wilshere was fit pretty much the whole time, but he dropped him because Eddie Howe changed his system, if you remember, and only dropped Wilshere for the second half of the season. He didn't play him, so that's a great point. He'd have a point to prove, Wilshere.
I actually think the Wilshere thing, the way I believe it, is the reason Howe didn't play Wilshere is because he couldn't afford him. Because Bournemouth had decided they weren't going to sign him. I think Howe had the mindset, well, you're not going to be here next season. We're already safe in the Premier League, so I'm going to start looking ahead to next season already, and you're not going to be here, so you're on the bench, kind of thing. That's how I seen it. Anyway, now I'm going to put my team up now, and Gonzo can't see it, but this is rare. It's exactly the same as yours. I'd done it before you sent me yours, but the reason I put Jack Wilshere in there is slightly the same reasons. It's out of respect to Bournemouth, perhaps, that I think they're a damn good team, and I think we go there with Mark Noble and Declan Rice, and we've got off with it at times this season. Brighton away, Watford away, we were perhaps lucky not to be concede when we could have done and perhaps should have done, and I just think Wilshere in there gives us a little bit of put him in there, tighten up that midfield space, and hopefully it would allow Yarmolenko and Anderson to come a couple of yards inside the pitch if he's not there. But Jack has that to play that crucial role, that when we are going forward, he gets his arse in gear and gets up and plays the number 10 role and allows Rice and Noble to sit in behind him. But it's got nothing to do with Fornals. I thought he was okay against Man United. I don't think he was amazing, but I don't think he was any worse than Felipe Anderson. So it's not him getting dropped, it's just managing the game. It's a game on its own, and I just think it's best to put an extra body in there when we're from the defensive aspect of it. So Jack Wilshere for me, but the rest of it stays the same. Gonzo? Well, actually, no, look, I'll ask yourself this, because I know Gonzo's answer, and people that watch our videos will know Gonzo's answer here too. Look, is there a bit of pressure on West Ham after going out of the League Cup?
Massive. I think it was your video I actually watched the other day about saying about how Pellegrini, he's got to justify that now, playing a weakened team, obviously with his eyes on the Bournemouth game. He's got to go there and at least get something out of that game. I'd be happy with a point, if I'm honest, because it keeps our away record going, and every point, it's the famous line, every away point is a good point. So yeah, but it's a massive game. It's a massive game for him. Big point to prove.
Gonzo, am I right to assume what your answer is?
Well, yeah, there is massive pressure on him. And yeah, again, I like what Luke said there as well about the point. I mean, I can't, whilst I think I've got to take into account the League Cup defeat, I would feel a little bit deflated. I was also the same bloke that said later on in the season we'll look at that point away to Aston Villa and say that was a good point. If I think a point away to Aston Villa is a good point, and clearly I've got to think a point away to Bournemouth is a good point as well, particularly bearing in mind, as Luke correctly stated earlier, they are a bit of a bogey team to us. But the pressure is on him in a big way. He gambled the League Cup, us remaining in the League Cup. He gambled that, and the stake for that gamble was obviously remaining in the League Cup. The gamble is that we go to Bournemouth and we go to win. If it happens, he looks very clever and he looks very good. But if you're going to accept that you're going to look very clever and very good, you're also going to accept that you're going to look pretty bad if we've sacrificed the League Cup and then we go and lose to Bournemouth as well. Because particularly bearing in mind Eddie Howe's done exactly the same thing, which will mean one of them's got it right and actually adjusted really, really well. I think also the pressure's also going to build on him because in a minute you're going to ask if we're confident, and that dents confidence what's happened. And I think even though Bournemouth have gone out a 4-0 thrashing, certainly dents confidence a little bit more than nobody in the Bournemouth team who will play in Saturday's game, losing 1-0 or whatever they did. I think there's a little bit of difference there. So massive pressure on him, and he's got to prove that he was right.
I think it's a performance thing as well as a result thing. I think we've got to play well. I think a couple of games this season we've got off with it a little bit. Against Villa we were average, perhaps. Just fortunately that Villa's average is also not that good. We had the 10 men excuse for the Villa thing. We played with 10 men for the last half an hour of the game and stuff, so you got up there. But like you said, Bournemouth rotated as well, so Pellegrini's advantage is null and void. You don't have one because they've also rested all their first team, so that one up you might have had going into the game it's even Stevens now. If you'd won the League Cup game, put out your strong team and won, you'd have a bit of an excuse to Saturday. You'd almost get away with it. If you lost, you say, well, you took out the players playing on Wednesday, but we're trying to win the cup. A lot of fans would go, you know what, fair enough, okay, fair enough. You've just lost all the excuses. All you've done is remove any excuses. You've got to go out there and try and win this game. So, confident boys. Luke, yourself, are you feeling confident for this one?
Not at all, to be honest with you guys. I've got to be honest with you because of the bogey team thing. Also, for me, they've got a player called, I think his name's Dan Juma, not scored a goal yet. People love scoring a goal against West Ham, don't they? Getting their first goal against West Ham. So he's probably a banker. I think he's going to be quite high scoring, though. But no, I'm not confident at all. I think you guys have said it, and I think it's quite universal on the West Ham fan channels. We've not got out of second gear yet, probably barring the Norwich game. If we turn up there in second gear, we are not going to win. We're going to get turned over. They're going to be pressing, and we've got to be there pressing as well. We've got to be in full fifth gear to win this game.
Gonzo, you feeling confident? Any more confident than Luke?
No, but probably more pessimistic than Luke. I'll tell you what, I'm going to make Luke sound positive, perfectly jolly with what I'm going to say. That bounce from the Manchester United game, the bounce from having 4 clean sheets in a row, has gone. The training ground will not be a happy place. There's no doubt about it. The coach back last night would not have been a happy coach. And the coach down to Bournemouth will not be a happy coach either. And I just cannot see... he's now got to do some massive mind trick, some psychological trick on the players to try and get back that feel-good factor that we had after those lovely results. And then I look at the teams... So that's from a psychological point of view. And then I look at it tactically. I can't see any way that we can win the game. I think they're too fast. I think they're too strong. I think they'll start too quickly. I think we'll start slow. I think Haller will be isolated as he seems to be. I'm really struggling, and it's not that I want to be pessimistic. If you remember, I predicted that we beat Manchester United 3-1. So I don't feel confident at all for this one.
I'm not confident, but I'm not as harsh feeling as yourself. I don't know how to describe your feeling, Gonzo. It's pessimistic, I suppose, but I think there is a way we can win it, and it's up to the manager and the players to go out there and do that. So, like you said, you pointed out some faults which are accurate, but it's up to the manager and players to rectify those faults, which is don't allow Allaire to be isolated, don't get overrun in midfield, make sure you match them. The referee Stuart Atwell for this game, he allows a physical game. Stuart Atwell allows a physical game. If I was Bournemouth, I've been wanting Atwell or Atkinson in charge of this one because they both allow a little bit of argy-bargy, and he's got one of them. He'll be saying to Lerma, Bill and Cook, get in their faces, get in at them and stuff. If Bernal starts, the guy's from Spain, doesn't fancy over here, go through him early doors out. Felipe Anderson's a very confident type player. He gets going in the first 10 minutes, he flies. Doesn't get going in 10 minutes, he turns into a ghost. Get into him and stuff. So, I'm not confident, but something, I think no result surprises me. If we win, not surprised. Draw, not surprised. Lose, still not surprised. This one is very open, this one. If you're a neutral, Saturday 3 PM with nothing to do, I suggest you tune into this one. There's usually goals, there's usually cards, there's a little bit of something coming between the two clubs because of the way things have gone on with Wilson and his handball in the past and stuff like that. There's a little bit of this one's important and stuff, and both teams have just got knocked out by a League One team in midweek, so I have to assume Bournemouth fans are a bit like us, looking at it thinking, bugger this, we should be going for this competition. We've both had decent starts to the season in terms of league positions and that. I'm going to get your score predictions in a second. I've got a feeling I know what you two are both going to go for. But before I do that, if you want to hear more from Luke, make sure you check out the Three Hammers YouTube channel. The link is in the description. So click on the link, type it into the search bar if you must, and subscribe to the channel and hear more from Luke and Paul. Luke, coming to yourself first. May I have your score prediction, please?
3-2 Bournemouth. I think there's going to be loads of goals. I agree with you in terms of the goals, but I think, they're just going to have that little bit too much for us this game.
I thought you were going to go for a draw, to be honest with you, Luke. I was feeling a draw.
I think lose.
Well, I know someone else I'm getting a loose vibe from. Gonzo.
Vibe.
Good show today.
Vibe coming over the internet. I know. It shouldn't be such
Positive.
a thing, should it? Look, Noble and Declan Rice are probably our two most important players for this game. It's so much hangs on them, and I'm sorry to put the pressure on them. And obviously, they hold no blame for what happens. Having said that, I think Bournemouth are going to win 2-0.
I'm going to go for my favourite score. I'm going to go for my favourite score in this one, which is Gonzo.
2-2.
And a bit more of a Scottish accent than that.
2-2.
That's not as Glaswegian as that. If you can get somewhere in the middle, that would be good.
2-2.
That's better. Do you think we'll take that? I'm going to go for 2-2. I'll say Bournemouth 2, West Ham 2. Check out the Three Hammers and join us on Saturday straight after the game. We'll have a review. Gonzo's going to the game. We have his instant reaction over on the forum channel. There's a good video up there just now where someone sent in a video clip saying that they don't think the cups are important. And it's good to hear someone else's point of view that doesn't really care too much about them, so go check that out. And also check out Avit's video from the West Ham women's game away to Chelsea. It's on the channel, it'll be on your screen in just a second. Thank you for joining us. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, and we'll catch you in a bit. Thank you for joining us on this preview of Bournemouth against West Ham United. Make sure you get your tickets for Sunday's game as West Ham women take on Spurs women at the London Stadium for the first time. What's going to be a game that makes history with approximately 20,000 fans attending. £1 per adult, kids go free, and Abbott will be there as always. Catch you in a bit.